guys, welcome to Made by Britsie, episode number 3. I'm Brittney, and this is my podcast about knitting, sewing, and all the crafty things. I'm coming to you from Austin, Texas, where I live with my husband Dave and our cat Slayer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at MadebyBritsie. And I just want to start off by saying thank you and give a big welcome to everyone who has subscribed or followed me on Instagram. It's really nice to know that you guys are enjoying the podcast, and it makes me very excited to come back and show you what I'm working on. This episode is going to be a little bit different. If you watch the first two, you'll know that my content is mostly knitting, and then I throw in a little bit of sewing at the end. It has been 3 weeks since I last recorded, and because of that, I have a little more sewing content today. So I think what I'm going to do is touch on the sewing in this episode, and then I'm also going to record kind of a bonus episode where I can go into more depth about what I've made and what I plan on making. So if you're into sewing, there will be a follow-up episode. That's a little bit longer, and I can talk more about the sewing. So I'm gonna try to record that today after I record this one. So it should be posted shortly after this one posts. So anyway, thanks for coming back, and I hope you enjoy what I have to show you this week. For the first segment today, I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing, and this is also my finished object. So this is the Deschain top by Layla Robbie, and I did talk about this in the first 2 episodes, but it's finally finished. And I just want to say that I love this top. It's different than what I normally go for. It's definitely more flowy and loose and boxy than something I usually would knit. I tend to stick to more fitted silhouettes, but I looked at how this was styled on other people, and I really thought that it's something that I would get a lot of wear out of. And I've been trying to be more selective when I start projects because with YouTube, Pinterest, Ravelry, and Instagram, there's a lot of inspiration, coming from all different directions, and it can be really overwhelming. And I'm trying not to jump on every project that catches my eye because there's so many great ones out there. So before I start something, I try to take into consideration if it's something that I'm going to be able to wear different ways, something that I'm not limited to, spring, summer, or winter, although I do like thicker, I do like knits that are, only winter specific, but I like to have some that are a little more versatile, and this is one of those pieces. It can be styled several different ways, and I'll post some pictures of me wearing it with like a high-waisted skirt, and today I have it on with like a longer top underneath. I'll stand up and show you in a second. But yeah, this I feel like goes great with jeans, skirts, shorts. It could work as a cover-up over a bathing suit. And I just love that about this top. And to me, the showstopper is this lace panel in the front. It was a super quick and easy knit, and I feel like this lace panel just kind of elevates it to the next level. And I love details like that are eye-catching and makes a knitted piece really stand out. So I used the Barocco Elba yarn. The pattern calls for Quince & Co. Kestrel, and while I'm dying to use some Quince & Co., my local yarn shop does not stock that, but she did recommend this, and I was happy to try it out, and I love it. I did modify the pattern a little. I added an extra lace repeat down here at the bottom, so it did require a little more yarn, so I ended up going with, I think I bought 4 balls from the store, and then I ended up having to order an extra one online because my yarn shop was out. But I was able to find this on Webs, and so I actually love this yarn so much that I went back to my yarn shop and and bought the same yarn in a different color to make a second one. I won't get started on that quite yet. I have some other projects that I want to work on, but I do have that there, whenever I have time to get started on the second one. So let me stand up and give you a better look at this lace panel. So as you can see, it's really nice and open, and it's really cool because it gives a nice kind of peek at what you have on underneath, and I really like that. It's got a nice boho vibe. It's just really comfortable, and I really love the way this yarn knitted up. Other than, I did make one more, well, not really modification. I just left out a step, and it wasn't exactly intentional. I noticed when I got started on the sleeves, I was kind of reading through the end of the pattern, and there is a step to finish the neckline, but I think when I finished the sleeves, I was just so excited to have it done and to wear it that I totally forgot about finishing the neckline. But honestly, I think it's fine the way it is. The step that it calls for would probably make it a little more stable and not as stretchy. And I will do that on the second one, but I'm not going to go back and do it on this one because I'm totally fine with how it knitted up. So if I know this pattern is pretty popular right now, and if you've been on the fence about knitting it, I would say definitely go for it. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about the pattern or about the modifications that I did. So next up, I want to talk about my whips or works in progress. So the first two are socks that I did show on episode 1 and 2. So I'll just go over them again real quick, and then I probably won't show them again until they're done. So this first one is just a vanilla sock, which has kind of been my go-to pattern lately for socks, just because I like to have some mindless knitting and something that I can just take with me in the car or knit on my lunch break. So I think vanilla socks are great for that. And when I'm using self-striping yarn, I really don't get bored with them. I know I do tend to get second sock syndrome, but not usually with self-striping yarn on a vanilla sock. I do okay. It's the pattern socks that I struggle to get finished. I'm knitting this out of the Knit Picks Felici, and it's in their hopscotch colorway. I've seen a lot of people knit with this. I've never used it myself, but so far I'm loving it. I have used other Knit Picks sock yarn and had great results, so I thought I would give this a shot, and they have a lot of great colors. I thought this was awesome for spring. I've been wanting to knit with something a little brighter, and I think this is so much fun. I'm just doing a one by one ribbing on the cuff. I knit about an inch of ribbing, which I know people sometimes prefer a little bit longer cuff, but for me, I usually stick to an inch or an inch and a half. I never really go longer than that. That just works for me, and I don't love ribbing. I'm usually ready just to get onto the stockinette and the round. I think these colors are beautiful. I'm using US size 1 9-inch circulars, and these work really well for me. I know a lot of people don't like knitting on the 9-inch circulars, but I don't know why. Maybe because I don't know if me being left-handed has something to do with it, but I think they're comfortable, and I feel like I knit much faster this way than using magic loop. I did do a nice little neon heel, and I think for the toe I'm just gonna continue with the Felici. I'm not gonna match the toe to the heel, but I just like this little pop of color. So this is knitting up really fast, even though I usually don't work on my socks when I'm at home. I work on my other projects, and I usually only knit the socks when I'm on the go. So that being said, I could have these done faster if I was knitting on them at home, but I feel like they're still going pretty fast given the time that I've put in. Yeah, so this is only the first one. I haven't started on the second one yet, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I'm doing, I think I did 60 stitches for these. I'm kind of experimenting with needle size and stitch count. Just I really want to find my perfect sock recipe. But for now, I'm liking how that's turning out. The second one I have to show you, I actually have a finished one, so I really need some sock blockers so I can give you a better look. But I just love this yarn. It's I love the details and the stripes. I just think it's so cool. And the cool thing about this yarn, it's a wool-free sock yarn from Premier Yarns, and I got this at Hobby Lobby, but I'm sure you could find it at any of the big chain craft stores. This was only $4.99 a ball, and I got 2 balls, but I honestly think that you could get, I wear a US size 7.5, and I feel like I'm gonna get 2 socks out of 1 ball. It'll probably be cutting it close, but yeah, I feel like if you have kind of an average size foot and you're not doing a super long leg, you could definitely get 2 socks out of 1 ball. But I guess I'll be able to tell you for sure once I finish the second one. And especially I didn't do contrasting cuffs, heels, or toes. So I think if you did that, for sure you would be able to get 2 socks. But yeah, I really like how this one knitted up. This yarn is really cool. It's, what's the content? It's 93% acrylic and 7% PBT. So I'm really interested to see how these wear, and I'll definitely give you feedback once I've worn them a few times. But so far I really like the feel. It's definitely different than wool. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's I don't know, it's definitely got a different feel. So I don't know, we'll see how well they wear. But I really like how this one went because I got the bright blue at the top, on the heel and the toe, and I was planning on doing the second one the same way, but I realized the second ball of yarn did not start on the same color, so I had the option of either kind of wasting yarn trying to get to that stripe or just kind of go with what was already there. So yeah, I'm gonna have mismatched socks, but I think that's fine. I'm actually kind of excited about it. I don't have any mismatched socks yet, so this will be a first for me, and I think it'll be cool because the pattern is so busy. I don't think it'll be noticeable, but I don't think it's gonna be grossly obvious. So yeah, I've got this much done on the second sock. Let me get a little bit closer. Yeah, and I just think this yarn is beautiful. I love the colors. Anytime I knit this in public and I'm around people that don't knit, they're just so intrigued by the design and the yarn, and I have to explain to them that I'm not doing the color work. It's I can't take credit for that. It's the yarn, the way it's dyed, and that's just how it knits up. But it's so funny just to see their faces when they think I'm doing like really intricate color work. So for this one, I'm doing 56 stitches on a US size 1.5. So a little bit bigger needle, but lower stitch count than the previous socks that I showed. So again, like I said, I'm kind of playing around with needle size and stitch count to kind of find my perfect sock. But I honestly think I like these better. It's making a little bit tighter fabric, and I tried on the first one and I really like how they fit, so this may be the winner. But yeah, I'll keep you posted on the progress of those. So my next work in progress is something that's been a work in progress for a while now. I think the last time I worked on this was July of last year, and I'm not really sure why I put this down, because I do really love it, and I just kind of stumbled across it again and decided that I wanted to pick it up again. So this is the pattern is called The Age of Brass and Steam kerchief, and there's no designer's name on Ravelry, so I'm not sure who designed it, but it is a free pattern, And it's just a small triangular shawl. And yeah, so I have another small triangular shawl that I've knit before using the Swedish spring pattern, and I actually get a lot of wear out of it. It's just nice to have something small that I can just wrap around my neck, even when it's not cold outside. But if we're going out to eat or going to the movies, and I just want something around my neck, just for that extra bit of warmth. So yeah, it's the only one I have as far as a small shawl. So yeah, I wanted to go ahead and finish this because spring's right around the corner, and I know I'll get a lot of wear out of this. And this yarn is actually one of the first yarns I dyed. I was just kind of experimenting and just wanted to see like how color placement worked, and I really like blue. This did turn out a lot more, I guess, wild. It's looking black on the camera, but it's actually like just a really dark blue with some turquoise speckles, and it turned out a lot more. I was looking for something more toned down, but just kind of experimenting. I didn't really know what I was gonna get, and I don't really know how to achieve what I'm picturing in my mind yet. So still practicing and just having fun with it. But I was so excited to knit something out of yarn that I dyed, because I haven't knit anything big out of anything that I've dyed. I've just, I've done socks, and then I've used minis for heels and toes. But I wanted to do like a more substantial project, and I did want, to pick a pattern that would kind of show off the yarn, because this yarn is pretty intense. So I love this pattern because it's really nice mindless knit. A lot of stockinette with some eyelet rows thrown in there, and yeah, not a whole lot to say about this pattern, except for I think it's great if you have some yarn that you want to let the yarn kind of stand out. And the pattern calls for DK weight, but you could substitute any weight and obviously end up with different results. This yarn is just a single ply 100% merino wool, and it's a really nice yarn. I think it's great for this project, but this is something that I'll definitely knit up again, using a different weight when I want something a little warmer. Yeah, so it shouldn't take me too long to finish this, because I have gotten quite a bit done, and I'm just gonna knit until I finish this ball. So there's not a whole lot left. I'd say about a third of the ball left. So yeah, I'm excited to have this finished, and I'll show you once it's done. I guess I should talk about the needles. I am knitting this on the US size 6, and these are my Addy Click interchangeable needles. This was the first interchangeable needle set that I purchased, or actually my husband bought these for me. I had like the cheap, I think, clover needles that you get from Michael's, and these were actually the first nice needles that I got, and my husband found them. And I do love these. I've used these for a while, and the only time I've had any issues with these, sometimes when I was knitting the Find Your Fade, I had issues getting the lace rows over the join. But for everything else, they've been fine. And I love them because it's not, the tips don't screw on. They have, I guess, click on. It's some kind of like spring-loaded mechanism in there. And so I love that, they don't come in screwed. They're really easy to switch out. And yeah, I think the Addy Clicks are great. So my next work in progress is the one that I'm most excited about. This has been in my queue for a while, and I've been a little hesitant to knit it because it is another top sort of like this one with a lot of positive ease, and it's got sort of a boxy shape. But after knitting this up and really enjoying it, I decided to go ahead and take the plunge, and I'm so glad I did, because it's knitting up super fast and it's beautiful. This is the Tegna pattern by Caitlin Hunter, and I know this is a pretty popular pattern right now, and for good reason. I think it's gonna be really nice for summer, and again, it's another one of those pieces that you can layer over other tops, and it would be really cute. So so far, this is what I've got. I've done the lace panel or the lace rounds, and now I'm on to stockinette, and it is flying. I just separated for the sleeves, and so far I've made one modification, and the pattern calls for to knit 13 inches until you separate for the sleeves, but because it is I feel like extra loose, I wanted to make sure I didn't knit it too long, because if it's long on me, it's going to be kind of overwhelming for my frame. So I wanted to do something a little shorter, because I know I'll be wearing, other shirts underneath this. So I'm not too worried about it being shorter than, what the pattern calls for. And also, so she does mention in the pattern that the test knitters use like a wide range of needle, I think from size 3 to size 7 to get the required gauge. I probably would have gone with a 3, except for I didn't have a size 3 available to me. I think I've got one tied up on another project. So I went ahead and used a size 4. These are my Licca needles, and this is the smallest size that is in the interchangeable set. So I think my gauge is a little looser, but again, I'm not worried about it, because I know this isn't going to be obviously a fitted top. So I really like how it's knitting up and the fabric that it's creating. I think it's just beautiful, and I can't wait to block it and have this lace open up. And I think when I do that, it's obviously going to grow a little bit. So I'm really not concerned about the size. When I do knit the sleeves, I think I am going to change to probably a size 3 or smaller needle, because I do want the sleeves to be fitted. I think my only issue with this one is this did kind of grow after I've worn it a few times, and I probably, in retrospect, I would have knitted these a little smaller. So I think I'm going to do that for this top, because to me, as long as the sleeves are fitted and it's not sliding all over the place, I really don't care how flowy and drapey the rest of it is. So I don't know if this yarn is actually showing true to color, but I'm knitting this out of the Madeline Tosh. It's her Tosh Mo Light, and it's in the Doe Eyes colorway. So this yarn is beautiful. I really love, it's 80% merino wool and 20% kid mohair. It's got a really nice halo, which I love, and it's super soft. The color is beautiful. Like I had mentioned in the shawl that I showed before, where I wanted to pick a more understated pattern, I guess, to show off the yarn. The opposite is kind of true for this. I wanted to pick a yarn that was had a more subtle colorway, and something that would really let the pattern stand out. Obviously, I've seen, I was looking through the project pages for this pattern, and people have knit this out of all different kinds of yarn, and every time it's turned out beautiful. But for me, I really love this pattern, and I just didn't want anything to take away from that. But this yarn, I think is perfect. The color is like, it's got some really subtle grays in here. The base is kind of a silver gray, almost with a hint of a light pink or tan. And then it's got some subtle grays in here, like really, really subtle variations. But it's beautiful, and I really, really love how it's knitting up. So this, like I said, is flying. Shouldn't take me too much longer to finish. I think I'll definitely be able to show it to you guys on the next podcast. But for now, this is kind of, my main project for me right now, the one I'm most excited about. So I really, really can't wait to have this done. So just one more close-up. Hopefully you can see just how beautiful this yarn is, and kind of you can see the halo right here. And I'm really just in love. I've already got I have yarn in my stash that I plan on using to make a second one of these, and I really love, patterns aren't expensive. At most I think they're usually $7, $10 at the most. I don't think the most I've ever spent on a pattern is $7, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you can kind of dilute that cost by knitting a couple of the same thing, especially if it's a pattern that you're not going to get bored with, I think it's great. Because, the first time around, once you wear it, you can kind of tweak it. When you want to make it a second time, you can, maybe make it a little different. So it's, you don't feel like you're knitting exactly the same thing, but I love being able to do that. And then that way it's kind of like you already know, what needles to use to get gauge. All the troubleshooting is kind of out of the way. So I really love when I find a pattern that I enjoy knitting and I know I want to make more than one. So this is one of those patterns, and I can't wait to show you guys when it's done. So next up, I have stashed enhancements, which I've got a lot to show you this week, and I feel like I should be ashamed, but I'm not. Because really, how can you feel guilty about a purchase that you really enjoy, right? So the first two things I have to show you are some project bags that I ordered from Wendy at By the Bay Yarn Co. And she's actually one of the first people that commented on my podcast. And she has her own hand-dyed yarn company, and she also makes project bags. And everything she makes is awesome. I follow her on Instagram, so every time she posts a new bag, and she's posted a lot of pictures of her yarn. So far, I've only bought bags, but I'm tempted to buy everything that she posts. So as soon as she posted pictures of these two, I knew I had to have them. So this first one is just her small, I think she calls it a sock bag. But yeah, it's just a small, simple project bag, really well made. And I love this print. I think that's what caught my eye the most. It's got these really cute llamas and then some cacti on here. She's great at picking prints. I feel like she has so many cute prints in her shop. But I love this bag because, like I said before, I carry my sock projects around with me, and I love that this is, it's soft and kind of can be squished up and thrown in a bag, but it's big enough to hold, a pair of socks and even 2 balls of yarn. I think there's plenty of room for that. But I love that you can fold this over, and it'll sit on a table nice and flat. So I knit on my lunch break a lot, and this is nice to just throw in my purse and take out and knit for a few minutes, and I can just have it sitting on the table in the break room. It's got 2 snaps on the top that keep everything from falling out, and I just love this bag. I'm definitely going to be ordering some more in this size. Because I think it's perfect for socks. I don't think you could really squeeze anything else in here, except maybe, a really small project. But I've got plenty of socks in the works, so I definitely want to get a few more of these. I also ordered one of her medium-sized project bags. And again, I was drawn to the fabric on this one. I love this bright yellow. I think it's like a really cheerful bag, and I love that it has the handle and the drawstring, and it's perfect. I have my Tegna in here, but this would be perfect for socks, a shawl, nothing huge, but definitely any medium-sized projects would fit fine in here. And I love this handle because when I lived in Boston, I used to walk to and from work, so it was about 3 miles each way, and I got a lot of knitting done that way. Not anything crazy, just usually like plain vanilla socks or another simple project. But I love a bag that you can throw over your arm and then take your project out and knit while you're walking. I just love the convenience of that. So this bag is great for that. It's super sturdy. Really well made, and I didn't even realize, so when I got these in the mail, I was so excited. I immediately just threw projects in both of them, and I didn't even realize that this has 2 pockets on the inside. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, so it's got 2 decent sized pockets in here. You can put your pattern, your notions, scissors, needles, whatever you want to throw in there. But I think this bag is great. So you should definitely check out her shop. This also is nice and sturdy and will sit flat. It's kind of a heavy duty canvas, but not too stiff, which is great. Definitely check out her shop. She's got a lot of great stuff in there, and I think you will find something you love. So everything else I have to show you today is yarn, and I have to say I'm pretty proud of myself because everything I bought, I have a project in mind for. I am bad about going to the yarn store and just buying whatever catches my eye and not really having something in mind. And even though, the yarn may be beautiful, it will just kind of sit in my stash waiting for the perfect project to come along. Which is fine too. I definitely have no problem having a stash. But I do like purchasing things and knowing what I'm going to make with it. It just feels good. So I went to my local yarn store. So here in Austin, I don't know if I've mentioned the name. It's called Hill Country Weavers. If you live in Austin, I'm sure you know it's on Manchac, and it's just, I think they have a second location on South Congress. I don't know if that one's still open, but I love the store. The people, the ladies that work there are great. They're always happy to make recommendations. They're very knowledgeable, and their selection of yarn is amazing. They have hedgehog fibers, woolen boon, lots of Madeline Tosh, and they're great about stocking a lot of local dyers, which I love. This one is not a local dyer, but this is made in Montana, and it's Farmer's Daughter Fibers. This is their tag, and it's their Squish Fingering 100% Merino Superwash, and the colorway is called One Stab, which I don't know if is really appropriate for the project that I have in mind. But I love the name One Stab. So I'm actually making a little baby dress out of this. I have a friend who's pregnant, and she's due in a few months. She's having a little girl, and I've never knit a baby garment before. I've knit hats and like socks and kind of like stuffed toys, but I've never done a garment just because I know they grow so fast. And when I think about putting the time and effort into making, a little baby thing, and then they can only wear it for a month, if even that, just doesn't really make sense to me, even though I know people love knitting for babies, and I'm sure one day when I have a baby that I'm gonna be all over the baby stuff. But anyway, for now, this is my first baby project or baby garment. So I wasn't even sure what kind of yarn to pick. So I had the girl at the shop recommend something for me, and she did suggest a few different ones, and I went with this one mainly because I love the color. It's kind of like a soft mauve, and it's got some, let me see, it's got really subtle speckling in there, just a darker mauve. And so I like it because it's not your typical color for a baby girl. And I know she'll have plenty of pinks and, girly colors in her wardrobe. And I just like this because it's more muted, and it's something that I'm going to enjoy knitting with. I don't know that I would like knitting something, too pink. But yeah, I love this. And the pattern, so I had my heart set on this pattern called Clara, which is this little baby dress, and it's beautiful. It's got some lace at the top and lace at the bottom, and it's so cute. But when I went to purchase the pattern on Ravelry, it turns out it's from a Danish website, and I guess the dress form is no longer available. It's only available as like a little top, and I have my heart set on the dress. So I went looking for, an alternative, and I found a lot of cute patterns, but the one that I chose mainly because of the name, which is Anya, and that just happens to be the name that my friend has picked out for her baby, which I think is beautiful. So when I saw this pattern named Anya, and it was like exactly what I was looking for, I decided that that's what I'm going to go with. So I think this yarn is going to be perfect. I can't wait to knit it up, and I can't wait to show you guys my first baby project. I'm super excited, and it'll be... I tend to be a selfish knitter, so it will be really nice to knit something and be able to give it to a friend. And she doesn't knit, but she is really crafty, and I know she'll appreciate the work that went into it. And I feel like she'll cherish it and keep it for a while. And I think the way the dress is, the reason I wanted to go with the little dress is because I think when she's smaller, she'll be able to wear it as a dress, and then as she grows, she can I'm assuming still wear it over like leggings or kind of style it at a different way. So I think it'll last a little longer than like a sweater or, another project like that. So anyway, super excited about this. Okay, so the next yarn that I have to show you is the Harry Potter Yarn Club from Molly from A Homespun House. So spoiler alert, if you are signed up for the Yarn Club, it's the January through March Harry Potter Yarn Club. If you are signed up for that and you haven't got your yarn for this month, then look away for a minute because I don't want to spoil the surprise. But I feel like I'm in the US and I feel like we're probably like the last ones to get the yarn because it is coming from Germany. And it is, we're almost towards the end of the month, so I feel like everyone's probably gotten theirs already. But if you haven't and you don't want the surprise to be ruined, then don't look for a minute. So anyway, this is the yarn for this month. And again, this is the Harry Potter Yarn Club from Molly from A Homespun House. And I love this. Oh my God. I just think I love everything she dyes up. Anytime she shows anything on her podcast, I just fall in love. And I've never actually ordered anything, but I'm so glad I signed up for the Yarn Club. And I think I'm definitely going to do some more yarn clubs in the future because I love getting surprises in the mail. And I knew I wouldn't be disappointed with anything she dyed. And so I'm sure you can see it's a light pink base with some like big sections of dark blue. It's got some purple, teal. It's got little pops of yellow. I just love all these colors. I love how they play together. And the other thing I love about her yarn club is she sent different bases. So the first one was her for last month was the merino cashmere base, and then this is her plump merino fingering. This is her ball band. It's the plump merino fingering, and it's called Ginny's Visit to Zonko's, which I think is perfect because if you watch the Harry Potter movies, Zonko's is like the candy store that the Weasley, or kind of like the novelty shop that the Weasley brothers run, and it's very, very colorful. I love in that movie when all of a sudden, the screen, the store comes on the screen. It's just so bright and colorful, and I love it. So I think this is like a really good interpretation of that, just all the bright, beautiful colors. And she had mentioned in one of her recent podcasts, someone had asked if they should wait to get all of the months and, put them together in a project. And she said she wouldn't necessarily do that, that they would go well together, but also, knit up into a project on their own. But looking at the two together, at least the ones I've gotten so far, I think they do go well together. I can see this being like a really cool fade. I've been wanting to make the So Faded sweater by Andrea Mallory. There's a cropped version with short sleeves, and I've been wanting to do that. And I wanted to do it in kind of like some funky colors because the one that she has on is like a baby blue. It has some baby blue and I think yellow and some other bright colors. So I wanted to do something similar, and I feel like these would be awesome together. So I just might do that. But either way, together or on their own, though I think they're perfect. So I can't wait to show you what I decide to do with them. The next yarn I have to show you is what I mentioned earlier, the yarn that I bought to make a second Deschain top. And this is, again, the Barocco Elba. And this one is a dark green, and I just wanted to do something, I consider this a neutral, but I wanted to do something a little lighter. I hardly have any gray in my wardrobe. I know a lot of people love gray and knit a lot of gray. I really don't have anything. So, this will be a change for me. I love this color, and again, I love this pattern, so this is kind of a no-brainer for me. It's not going to be something I jump on immediately, but fairly soon, I guess. But yeah, that's it. Okay, Okay, so the next two yarns I have to show you is a purchase I made from Knit Picks. KT from Inside Number 23 had knit, I think, a cardigan out of the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes tweed, and I thought it looked beautiful. So, and I love that Knit Picks is really affordable, and I've never knit like a big garment out of their yarn. I've done like shawls and scarves and socks, but I wanted to try the Wool of the Andes just because it is so affordable, and I wanted to see how it knit up, because if I like how it knits up and how it wears, then it's definitely one that I'll order again, because I mean, this color is beautiful. I did, again, the Wool of the Andes tweed, and it's the Forest Heather colorway. I think this is like $3.79 a ball, which is so cheap. And honestly, it's pretty soft. It's not super scratchy. And this is 80% Peruvian Highland wool and 20% Donegal tweed. I read the reviews, and I've heard that it softens up once it knits, but honestly, it's already pretty soft. I don't find this scratchy. I did get nine balls of this, and I'm gonna make, I'll post a picture, but it's the Eastbound sweater, and I know it's kind of early to be thinking about sweaters, but I want to get a head start. I do want a couple of sweaters for this coming winter, and I don't want to be scrambling to make something. I want it to be enjoyable. And yeah, after Katie had been talking about the cardigan that she made, I couldn't help myself. I had to go online and order some yarn. And last but not least is some more yarn from Knit Picks. I also bought this intending to make a second Eastbound sweater. Even though I haven't made one yet, I just know I'm gonna love the sweater. So I've already bought yarn for two. So my only issue with this is I'm not in love with the color. This is their Wool of the Andes, and this is only $1.99 a ball. So I got these 9 balls, for less than $20, which to me is amazing to make a sweater for that price. This is a little scratchier than the Wool of the Andes tweed, but again, I read that this softens up, so we'll see. And if I don't love it, it's not a huge loss. But I felt like it was worth giving a shot because it is so affordable. And like I said, my only issue with it is I don't love this color. It's the Gosling colorway. I wanted a neutral, but I think I wanted something like a little lighter, either a little lighter or a little darker. I would have been happy either way, but this is just kind of, I don't know, there's nothing special about this to me. Maybe I'll feel differently once it knits up. And I guess I can also dye over this too, so that may be an option. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to knit the first one out of the Forest Heather colorway and just make sure that I do like the pattern. And this may either be, this may turn into something else. Who knows? But yep, that's what I got. So for the last segment today, I want to show you what I've been sewing. So I talked about this in the last episode. This was intended to be my Valentine's Day dress, and it was not finished by Valentine's Day. Not a huge deal because we ended up not doing anything. I mean, we typically don't do much for Valentine's Day. We just had dinner at home, and yeah, it was nice and relaxing. But I did finish this shortly after, and the reason it was my Valentine's Day dress, as you can probably tell, is because of the fabric. It's just like this super cute print with like lip prints all over it, which I thought was just adorable. I've had this in my stash for a while. I got this at a fabric store in Boston called Sophisticated. Yeah, and I love fun, funky prints. So I'm going to go on about this more in my sewing episode, but I'll show you the pattern that I use. This is the Patterns by Gertie. It's a Butterick B6413, and I did make one modification. I chose to do a gathered full skirt instead of the straight skirt that it shows, mainly because I have a couple of dresses with straight skirts that I love, but I tend to wear the dresses with the fuller skirts more. They're just they seem more casual to me. yeah, so I had a love-hate relationship with this dress for a little bit. I know with the making process, it starts out like being super excited, getting started, and then there's a couple of moments where you go back and forth like, oh, it's not going to work out. Then, oh, yes, it's working out. And then, no, it's not going to work out. And then at the end, once I'd finally finished it and I'd basted the zipper in. So I hadn't put completely put the zipper in, but I basted the zipper in and tried it on and it fit, but it was loose. Even though I did the smallest size, I still had to take out they recommended a much bigger size, or not much bigger size for me, but I think they recommended a size 8 or 10 according to my measurements, and I went with the size 6, and still had to take out a lot to get a good fit. So just beware if you're making one of the big 4 patterns. That's just how they are. They allow for a lot of ease. And I like my dresses more fitted. So yeah, it was easy to take just kind of slice a couple of inches off the back, and I was able to get a good fit. But again, I'll go on about what I did in my sewing episode. So next I want to show you, I decided to do a segment called Dave's Picks, where Dave is my husband, and I let him go through my fabric stash and pick a fabric that I have to use for my next project. I'm doing this because I have a pretty big fabric stash and I need to try and work through some of it. And I know when I'm starting a project, I tend to favor my more recent purchases, or, I have my favorites. So I wanted to kind of step out of my box, which he picked this fabric, which I love. I don't know why I haven't used this. Honestly, I think it just got buried in the bottom of my stash. That's the only reason I haven't made anything with it yet. So this is from when a couple years ago when I first realized that Walmart sold fabric, and it was so cheap. I think I went kind of crazy. So this is actually fabric that I got from Walmart. And I mean, honestly, it's just quilting cotton, but I like sewing with quilting cotton. It's just, I've sewed a lot with other fabrics, and I know when something's too finicky, I just don't really enjoy the process. And I like wearing quilting cotton. I like that it's easy to, to take care of and maintain. It washes up really well. You don't have to do anything special with it. But yeah, I love this print. I got 3 yards, and I did purchase this 2 years ago. I guess I should be showing it this way. Just a super cute cherry print, which I love. And for this, I'm going to do another Gertie pattern. And it's kind of funny because I'm going to do this straight dress. And I don't know if you can tell, but the pattern or the dress on here is actually made out of a very similar fabric or very similar print. I think this is one of her prints because I've seen this at Joann's. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to have a dress that ends up looking pretty much like this. So I'm going to do the straight version, and the pattern only calls for less than 2 yards, so I'll even have some left over, which will be great. Yeah, so I'm going to get this cut out, and I'll probably do a little review of the pattern and whatever in my sewing episode. But for now, that's all I have to show you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.